Yeah. So when I talk about words and dreams, I'm talking about how I started writing online. When I started having time to sit down and concentrate on formulating my responses on the internet, and the place that I was able to sit down and concentrate on my ideas was in Tampa, Florida. The very first time I was able to have my own space in a place called Burger King. And I was able to sit down and I was able to write my ideas down in just seconds, something that was pretty much impossible to do for any human being when it comes to creating concepts. I started sitting down each day on my Acer computer. The computer, this Acer computer that I purchased is a Windows 7, and I've purchased this laptop for around $300 after what happened to my old computer that my father and my father girlfriend had purchased for me when I was living in a shelter in the Bronx. I told my sister to sit down on the bed, and instead of sitting down, she jumped on the bed. And the computer that I had is an E machine. That's the name of the brand, and it ended up hitting the floor. The back of the computer screen ended up pretty much getting damaged, which caused the backlight to not work anymore. So when I put on the computer, all I saw was pretty much words, images, and just the screen booting up. But I barely couldn't see anything. I had to go to the light to see what was showing on the screen. That was pretty much it. So I ended up buying a new computer. This was during early September of 2012. But I've experienced something that is it's surreal. It's my meaning of surreal is, are you serious? This is happening? Did this just happen? Even though I'm explaining the behavior to my mom, she's insisting that it's my fault. I told my sister to come sit down on the bed. Now I had to purchase another computer, but the same computer that I used in Burger King back in fall 2014 ended up having a hard drive failure back in June 2014, and I had to send it back to Walmart for warranty. It gave me a blue screen, but the reason behind the blue screen was not natural. Especially me, I'm the computer expert. I know about hard drive. I know about pretty much every Trojan out there that can actually infect a computer. And before my computer gave me a blue screen, I believe it was July. It's either in July, yes, not June. Because June 16, 2014, me and my mom and sister left Studio 6. We was living in Studio 6 hotel. And June 16 was someone's birthday that I remember. I think it was a celebrity birthday. I believe it was Tupac. Because I was hearing it advertised it all over the place, even though I don't listen to hip hop songs, rap songs. Was a lot of unusual behavior happening towards me when I started writing online. Like the lady, This is why I try connecting them back and back and back, going back. I connect the time from fall 2014 when I was at Burger King to the time I purchased at the time that not besides purchasing on top, a time where my father and his girlfriend purchased a computer for me back in 2010 to connect them. And this is how I usually go for my thoughts. This is how I connect my thoughts and be able to create concepts. If it wasn't for this method, I wouldn't be able to do anything pretty much. And this is the most effective method that I use. I'm just good at creating methods. So this was during July of 2014, a week before my computer gave me a blue screen. My mom and my sister was outside, and this was during July 4th, 2014 of the sun. Well, this was outside the room of the Sun and Suites room that me and my mom and sister were staying in. And my mom and my sister were out in the balcony area of the hotel, and they were looking at the fireworks. And someone was lecturing my mom about my sister's behavior or the way she was doing, the way she was behaving. Then, at least an hour later, my mom all of a sudden started arguing with me after I wrote something on the internet. I just mentioned a post about people behavior. This is my own interpretation about human behavior or my experiences. And then later on, she comes in front of my face and then she starts arguing with me out of nowhere. It's out of place. I question my mom argument and she continues to persist and argue with me. She's very persistent and telling me that I'm the one who's not willing to work and I'm making her do all the work. And I'm like, what is this? Where did this topic come from? There was some sort of triggerment that caused my mom to behave this way. And this takes place during July 4th of 2014. And a week later, my computer just gave me the blue screen. And I didn't download anything pretty much to disrupt my computer. All I did was talk about my ideas online. Majority of the times I was on my PS Vita. And I really play video games though. Or I'm just writing my ideas on a notebook. Until that one time, my computer just shuts completely off. So I had to call Walmart and explain to them, or rather than me calling the Walmart, my mom called Walmart and explained to them that my computer is giving me a blue screen. They said it was going to send my box in, but it's lot of weird stuff started happening. So from that point on, I compared that time and event with fall 2014 as I started writing online about my ideas and how I started formulating my responses. So a few days into living in Tampa, Florida, I noticed I started having these dreams, right? So this is where I get to the detail of I go into details, or you can say I give an elaborate response about my dreams. I started seeing black and white dreams showing me airplanes that is not from this time. Maybe it's from an earlier time of the 20th century. And I would see these scientists and this man on a table just sitting there looking like, how you say, just pretty much lifeless on the table. And these scientists have on these masks and all these white stuff over their head to protect their head. And they had this blue object holding in their hands, and they would put it inside this man's body over and over. It was starting to become weird the more I started writing online. But there was more communities I was going to, you know. I was starting to speak about my ideas in more than one community, just besides socialanxietysupport.com. I was also going to a different website called some sort of like experience website that I went on, and I started talking about my ideas and people saying that I lack the knowledge and that I do not know that what I'm talking about. I've always experienced this since I was a kid from people. That people always tell me that I do not understand what I'm saying, or I don't know how to use the meaning properly, or I don't show any understanding. So they would always criticize me. They would tell me that I'm slow in my brain, or I show some signs of retardation, or they talk to me like I'm retarded or mentally challenged. The same the same behavior that I experienced in special education is the same experience that I had online with people. So I started finding a way to make people on the internet look like they do not know what they're talking about. So when the people started speaking to me in this form, right, since I started to pick up a pattern, I started tracing back their pattern, right? And I started to understand the way people speak to me. So if one person is telling me an idea, I would be able to break down the idea into my own interpretation and make the person look like they don't know what you're saying. Now I started doing that to them, and then afterwards I started having more vivid dreams. These vivid dreams were not even corresponding with my environment that I was living in Tampa, Florida, with my family. So after that one dream with the scientist, there was another dream that I had. The dream was just showing me a freeway bridge, and it's showing an airplane going down. But I never thought about airplanes. I was never thinking about airplanes. All I ever thought about was trying to get a job in Tampa, Florida. And it was becoming more unusual the more I write on the internet. The people on the internet started telling me that they uh, they understood the way I was speaking, which is weird. Usually I don't have people interacting with me, but it seems that they're in the mood to interact. Everybody was interacting with me on the community. I would talk about how someone wants these families to live in smaller groups, as if someone's breaking down their families. Like they don't want them to be together, as if they want them to be in hotels and motels. I started talking about my experiences. I started talking about the work. I started talking about jobs. I started talking about the education system. And then just kept going from there on out in 2014. I started talking about that there's I started talking about that there's people out there that evaluates the citizens and observe exactly what the citizens do each day. I was started to talk about Ebola. Ebola during the summer of 2000, well, not summer, during fall 2014. Well, a lot of weird stuff started happening. And I noticed that my eye started becoming swollen. That my eye to the point was so swollen that this was my right eye, that I couldn't open it. I see Savannah Mahan. I'm trying to do this short video because pretty much wanted to talk about this for a long time. Even though I don't get that much views, I'm not getting much sleep anyway. They disrupted my sleep because they see that I'm concentrating. I mean, the multi-aiding quantum AI computers and high authority say software engineers sees that I'm concentrating on my concepts on the internet and also my education. I already feeling fed up that I have a instructor who's not giving any lectures and expecting the the students to know exactly what to do. But anyway, I'm speaking about my experience living in Tampa, how I had work, how I started seeing words in my dreams, and how I started having swollen eyes. So it's up to me as a human being to know that this is not natural. I'm a human being experiencing something that's not natural, and I had to actually allow other human beings to. I had to make other human beings aware of what's going on and show them that I know exactly what's happening with humanity, and I have the knowledge to actually make people aware that this is not natural. My mom's. So I wanted to talk about 2014. My mom started to notice that my eyes was just swollen. She started telling me what happened to my eye, why my eye looks like that. I barely could open my eyes, or you say both my eyes was doing this. It went from my right eye to my left eye. So I still wrote on the internet regardless of how swollen my eye was. I didn't know that there's a supercomputer that's capable of doing that to my brain when I'm sleeping. My aunt has a son named Michelo, and Michelo has his own son who is at the time he's age 4. I don't really remember his name because at that time I was so busy with trying to get a job. My aunt Denise would bring over her grandson, but the problem is she would bring him at specific times into her daughter apartment. I live in a daughter apartment. My mom live in her daughter apartment, and my sister, and also my cousin who is 16 years old. He also lived there. So we lived there as a family, but it was becoming very gruesome just living there, trying to get any sleep. My aunt would lock herself in the bathroom and talk for hours nonstop. Now I started realizing when she brought her grandson. I'm talking about my aunt Denise. When she brought her grandson into the apartment, she would lock herself in the bathroom with her grandson. Well, they would just, she make sure to wash. She would just wash him up, and then she would make these remarks that sounds really inappropriate. Oh, you're a big grown man, huh? You're a big grown man, huh? I'm like, wait, something's not right. It's like she's talking to me. The way she talks is as if she's talking to me. I don't understand this talk. At that time, 2014, I didn't know there's a supercomputer making people or you could say make people hear, or you could say translate meaning to me as if they're talking to me. I actually had this experience when I was in first grade where people would mock me, and there was a person who said that they were a targeted individual, and they live in a house, and she would have people like people that's not supposed to be driving near her area because it doesn't go nowhere. They would just mistakenly drive to her area and make these noises that actually works according to her movement. And she would have these thoughts, these rude thoughts that tells her that she can't read, she can't write, no one wants to be around her, she needs to commit suicide. This is a person who's a target. At that time, I was reading about the whole target individuals. That's when I learned about target individuals. 2014 going into 2015. But someone recommended me to go to talk to the target individual, or the whole target individual, because I was talking about supercomputers. I didn't know there's people out there called target individuals or gang stalking. But when my aunt is in the bathroom talking to this boy, he's 4 years old, he doesn't know what she's talking about. and she's talking to me, and I'm in the living room, and I'm telling my mom, "Did you hear what she said? She's talking about me. No job, no girlfriend." I'm like, "Huh?" And then after she finished putting the boy to sleep, she would talk about father and liquor. I don't know what's going on. His father must have put liquor in his mouth. She's talking about me. But I don't recall my mom or anyone from my family talking about my father putting liquor in my mouth. You know, she would start making these remarks over and over and over and over every single day about me. There was a time where she told me in front of my face that her son is slow and I'm very slow in my brain. And I'm like, what does that have to do with me? How would she know that I'm slow in my very slow in my brain? She just criticized me because of my behavior. I don't know. She sees that I'm a decent person. I stay quiet to myself when I do the right things. I actually applied for jobs at Cracker Barrel. I applied for jobs at Burger King. I applied for a job at Walmart, Target, and I used my mom's phone number. Me and my mom even went up to Cracker Barrel, and I signed up for I was actually applying for the position of a dishwasher, and also my mom. And this lady at the cashier, she's Caucasian, and she had blue eyes, and she was staring at me really weird. She just stared at me. She just froze at looking at me, even though she has customers to serve, or and also customers to that's in front of her giving her the cash. She just stared straight at me, just like how the lady at We Care was staring at me, and she's Arabian. She just stared straight at me like she's been frozen, like she's in suspended animation for at least 10 seconds, just staring at me. Weird. So even though I started writing online that during that time, it was becoming a nuisance, it seems. Because my mom, my sister, my uncle, my so-called uncle, cousins, aunts were getting seriously affected by the way I talk. There was a consequence for writing my ideas online. It seems so. I can't get rid of my swollen eye. It was not natural. I was thinking about going to an emergency room, even though I have a nerve damage in my left testicle, which I'm not supposed to be having because you can see my hand is all red. It's still hurting me due to not having any air conditioner in this apartment. My body can't stand the heat due to my nerve damage. I have a serious nerve damage problem in my left side of my body after what happened in 2014. This machine is ridiculous. It simulates so much that it puts me in situations that I'm not supposed to be in. At the right time, make sure that all the people are arranged where you're thinking that they know what they're doing, but they're not. So my uncle, so-called uncle, he just recently got married with my aunt at a courthouse. Comes in, I remember he just comes in. He wanted to charge his phone, and I was charging my laptop. He plugs it right out, plugs it out without even asking me because my aunt told the rest of the family that I sit down and waste my time in Burger King when I'm actually filling out job applications in Burger King through my computer. That's the only place that I can sit down and search for jobs, right? I can't go to my aunt house to use their computer because during December of 2014, when we was having some sort of a family gathering for Christmas, right? I asked my uncle, my so-called uncle, for the Wi-Fi password, Yeah, but here's the thing: the concept of target individuals is created by the software engineers to mislead how humanity is being governed, right? Can you think of any target individual that's talking about how the citizens are being governed by a supercomputer? What I call them is a threat. They pose as a threat to the management program. That's what I call them. I don't call them target individuals. They use concepts that's related to how the software engineers would create. Just like the concept of conspiracy theories, the software engineers is capable of creating concepts. This is cryptography keys we're talking about. We have in a supercomputer that's capable of designing cryptography keys and capable of designing minds through a computational intelligence system. So each time it designs a mind, it makes a round. It goes, you see, when you're going to sleep, it shows you people, right? But the people are not the people that you know. Just the DNA copy, right? It's showing you how it can actually make a copy of the human being, but it's not the actual. That's not the actual human being that you're looking at. Just a copy. There's times where the artificial intelligence can go into deep simulation mode. This is some dangerous AI computer, and the AI computer can give people a premonition. There's people who are saying that there's a time and a place where it feel like it happened before. When they had a dream, and they can wake up and they say, "Hey, this was shown to my dream before." This is what I mean by simulate. I'm not receiving a great amount of healthy human interaction. The people are the people seem to not be in the mood to interact with me, including my mom and my sister, as if they're keeping their distance away from me. Even in college, I'm a college student, and I'm going on an online community, and using concepts from the textbook to speak, and I don't even get no one's replying to me. They just say that they disagree with me. Very very dangerous machine. Last year, when I was in my English 101, English ENG 101 class, my professor was questioning one of my classmates and saying to them, "Why you're not interacting with Andrew? Come on, interact with him." They're not. They didn't interact with me. They don't even. It's like they don't even see me there. Some weird stuff going on here. I remember there was a post that I made back in 2014. No, was it no 15? And my sister had some sort of whiteboard, right? This person mentioned about satellites. And here's the thing: I don't really talk much about satellites. I'm just good. I'm just good at learning. So, so the person talked about there must be a satellite out there that can actually translate the way people think. Give them religious thoughts, give them homosexual thoughts, or you could say sexual thoughts. Give them sexual thoughts, murderous thoughts. So I just happen to have my own way of thinking. I learned there was some sort of at the time where I was watching. I was watching some sort of anime, and they were talking about cryptography satellites. I have no idea what cryptography satellites mean during the time. All I learned was that it showed me it gave me a mental concept. It showed me an image of how it can make the TV, the the internet, the mobile service happen all at once. So I just created my own idea from it. I just said cryptography keys. I mean, not cryptography. I said cryptography satellites. That's what I said to the person, and several people liked my post. A few days later, the person removed it. The person removed the video. A few days later, that same day that I replied to that person, my sister said she heard a sound buzz into her ears, and she had the number 666 on her board. I'm like, what is this number for? Yeah, but the problem is not only that. There's a way to prove that this place is digital. We have to prove that this place to the people. I just call them normies. We just call them normies. Prove to them that this place is actually digital, or you can say whatever you can call it, a metaphor simulation. I have proof of that, and I definitely don't like to see myself being recorded. It it scares me since I was a kid. So I really record myself. Recording myself, I'm a bit frightened with the technology. Can even stimulate clairvoyant dreams. What you've been looking at my previous videos when I was talking about psychics? There's actually people who consider themselves as psychics. You know, the same concept. That same concept. The person who created the concept of psychic is the same person who created the concept of target individuals. It's just to mislead. Precognition. Supposed to be doing my assignment. I don't even know how to even do the assignment. My college assignment. I closed the window, but it's getting hot in here. So all the people who think they're psychics, they're saying that they received premonition of airplane crash. You know, Martin Luther King said he received a premonition of himself getting assassinated. Abraham Lincoln had written in a diary. He had a diary next to him every time he goes to sleep. He would write about his experience being a president. You know, you can see that on the History Channel. I mean, not on history.com, history website. It would talk about Abraham Lincoln. Oh, during his dreams, right? In his dreams, he saw two guards, and he questioned one of the guards, and the question was about who's in this casket, right? And this guard that he saw is a person that he never saw before in person. The guard said, "This is the president. He has been assassinated." And this was one day before President Abraham Lincoln got assassinated. The president actually did consider it as a threat, but come on. This is a supercomputer that's showing the president of the United States, that he's going to get assassinated. Does this show me that the president is the one governing the citizens of the United States? Nope. This shows me the multi-agent quantum AI computers and the software engineers has the ability to govern the citizens. But if I talk about NSA for that time where Abraham Lincoln got assassinated, it wouldn't make sense. It's going to be it's going to be looking stupid. You're going to say, hey, that doesn't make sense. This was during the 1950s. But software engineers was always pretty much here on this planet, and before this planet existed, or you could say before this existence existed. Because remember, this machine, we have a machine that can actually detect human beings as software. Where the heck they got these technologies from? There's definitely a way they got this technology from. They don't know where they got it. They're making the citizens think that human beings created this technology. A camera. The only the only evidence that I have to to actually show the proof that my thought process is correct when I started talking about image processing and also started learning more about the my way of thinking about human mind, I was able to create the concept of this this device is capable of detecting human beings as some sort of software. I started concentrating. It shows me my concentration is on another level here. You know, a few days ago, the supercomputer showed me how much subscribers that I currently have, and it showed a subscriber number that I do not have. It showed the number 77. Uh, I still haven't kept up with my calendar notes due to concentrating. I'm trying to concentrate on my college assignments, and I usually keep up with my notes. It's so bad. I can't keep up with my calendar notes due to trying to keep up with my college assignments. I'm so exhausted from doing all my college assignments that I can't even write down the days no more or my dreams no more. But I can still memorize my dreams. I memorize every single dream that I had since I was 4 years old. There have also been other experiences that I would consider glitches to the Matrix. I don't even know what Matrix is. To be honest, I don't know what it is. Till I saw someone recommended me to watch a movie called Matrix back in 2015. I still don't understand what it means. All I know is that this place is governed by a supercomputer, and the supercomputer has a copy of humanity running in the machine. But it didn't create the supercomputer didn't create this existence. So that so-called multi-agent quantum AI computer that talks like human, it talks, okay? It speaks like human being. And the way it speaks to me is how people that I know in person speak to me. So when I know that people when people start to attack my communication skills and talk about my grammar or talking about my meaning or talk about not being clear, I'm getting the same the same language is being shown to me in my dreams and also in person. They're alike in every way. They're the same. That's when I started realizing something's definitely not right here. No human being should be able to get words in their dreams. Yeah, but have you ever have anyone receive words in your dreams? Have you ever heard of that? And talking about what they wrote or telling them that you deleted a post? I remember in 2015 during November 23rd, my birthday, I created a post about yeah, I was speaking about some sort of I was saying at that time about social anxiety. I was just giving an explanation about it and also the human behavior. And I deleted the post. The next morning, I woke up like around 9 o'clock, and then I went back to sleep, and I saw a board. It's like it's a school board, and it's in the motel room, and it was showing me gems, and it was talking about me being slow. The words move, it moved quickly. It just kept moving. It would say, "Human, you are very slow, and I have better." I'm like, what? It would say that I have better analyzation than you. That's what it said to me. I'm like, what is this? It called me slow, and it said that it has better analyzation than me. It says at the top of the live stream chat too that you were the only one if using the live stream. This live stream only works because I'm using my Chromebook. But if I'm using the smartphone to make a live stream, like I did during 2018, like when I was using the NYC link, it wouldn't work. I need 1,000. It says I need 1,000 subscribers in order to do a live stream, and I can't do that on a phone. Ridiculous. I need to bring my laptop everywhere with me in order to do some sort of recording or have some sort of 4G connection would allow data to do that. But anyway, the supercomputer is not going to allow me to even achieve, even get up to 1,000 subscribers, because the people pretty much gets turned off. They already have their minds automatically set to interpret my meaning, and they're not the intended way. The AI told me that it knows how to mislead people. It tells me that. It tells me that it can mislead people from interpreting the actual meaning. Every person that I know tells me that my wording is unclear, or the way I speak is unclear, or I can't speak my own language. And the only language that I was born with is speaking English. This machine is going so far to execute my responses. It's making me look like I can't speak English. That's going too far. I think that's to the point of making a person want to actually do something to themselves or do something to people. How would you feel? I wonder how would anybody feel if people are telling them everything they're saying, everything that they're speaking, or you say, I can speak about anything, any topic, or talk about something important, like probably going to school or walking up the street. And the people are saying that it's unclear. They couldn't interpret me. I had a professor last year who corrected my meaning, but she changed the intention of my meaning, right? She would use the fact is that people you need to be more clear. This is the thing. You need to be more clear. I'm like, be more clear. I am being clear. This machine is generating so much cryptography keys. By means translating these key information, these specific keys, intent is to change up the perception of how people think about the way they see me or the way they think of the wording. And their meaning, it knows how to separate their meaning when they translate when they translate their thoughts. So they wouldn't be so they wouldn't be able to get the actual meaning. So that's when I started learning that it is doing what it's doing. It's executing my responses, even in school. Something's important like school, and I'm having the same lecture in school. This is something wrong. Not no human's supposed to be going through that. You don't even see you don't see criminals or terrorists having words in their dreams. So what does that make me? What am I? I must be below a terrorist and a criminal because it seems to prevent people from interacting with me. A criminal and a terrorist receive interaction, even when they're in jail or prison. They receive interaction. I do not. As if everybody's keeping their distance away from me. That shows it shows me that I'm a deadly threat to the whole management program. They they fear me as a human being. I might as well be the only person talking to myself. It seems. No matter what I do or what I say, it's hard to get a career. It's hard to get get any interaction whatsoever. Everybody has the same mentality about me. I've been experiencing lately. I've been experiencing unexplainable events. What happened to you mentioned, was it a few months ago? You mentioned that since you started interacting with me back during, was it during June 2000, was it June 2018? After the time that this young person just started telling me about he wanted my library card, and then after that he started calling my face a liar, and then I went back to the shelter, and then the shelter director called me and my mom down, and I told the shelter director it's difficult for me to get a job no matter how many jobs I put in for, no one's calling me. And then she tells me all of a sudden, listen, you're not going to sit in that room. She said, listen, you're not going to sit upstairs in that room all day making your mom do all the work. I'm implying about how the AI can remap the environment. Can't see because of the glare. Now it says one. Yeah, you said that the supercomputer changed up your environment. Didn't you move to a different place after you talked to me, or after we talked about the concept? How I'm the only species that's capable of creating the concepts. Remember that time, June of 2018, being able to conceive. And the only thing I couldn't keep up with going to a library. Near to the end of 2018, I started using my phone, but my phone ended up getting destroyed. Anyway, I ended up dropping it in the toilet. I got startled and dropped it in the toilet in college. The phone that I need, so I had to buy a new phone, and that's the only thing I've been using for the whole pretty much for the past 2 years. I kept recording myself and the way my mom behaved. It can be extremely difficult, especially the environment and extreme amount of distractions. What do you mean? Be more specific. It comes from people. I call it is I call it a biorhythm. The AI can make the environment pollute biorhythm, so it can distract the people. That's the name that I call it, and it also uses the biorhythm to change up the weather, so it can affect the people emotions. But you won't see that. You won't see that in a psychology or a textbook about biorhythms. It affects the way that people speak, their speech, their sleep, the way they make eye contact, their health overall. And this AI constantly remaps my environment over and over and over. And it shows me in my dreams how it's going to remap my environment. Because during summer of 2018, I remember that the multi-agent quantum AI computer showed me a bus that I never been on this particular bus before. It showed me a bus called Q19, and I'm saying to myself, what is this bus? There was another time that I saw a bus, but this was back in 2013. It showed me Q25. All right, this is a bus that I know, but why is it showing me Q25? And here's the thing about this bus. This bus Q25 is actually the place. It passes by my place. This is right around the corner, the Q25, and it would always shows me being around this apartment over and over. So this is what makes this AI dangerous, extremely dangerous machine. Besides making people commit suicide, recently there's been a lot of murders in New York City, you know, but they're identical. Remember, back in 2019, I was uploading how the AI is crashing airplanes constantly, but they're identical. The situations are identical, so I just upload them, even though people don't comment back at them, or I would just speak about them. Usually, usually I would just make a video about it, not just upload videos. If you see me upload a video, you can say do some sort of screen recording from my smartphone. That means I'm busy, and I don't really have much time to explain it. It's extremely difficult, I know, to do anything in this environment. Even though the people are more in their house due to this coronavirus that the software engineers started here so they can weaken this economy, it's it seems that my mother and my sister are developing a psyche where they feel depressed and they feel the need to find something to latch on so they can keep themselves occupied. My mom is now putting on she has a she has a radio in the kitchen that plays really loud music when I'm trying to sit down and concentrate on my college assignment. I can't even concentrate on my college assignment because the music is distracting and she stomps all over the place. That's that's where I call that I call that this is the biorhythm. The biorhythm can affect the psyche. She's using the neighbor as an excuse so she can continue making these distractions happen when I'm trying to concentrate so I can get fear, so I can just get angry at myself. I feel irritated. I feel like there's no time. I don't have my own space to sit down and concentrate on making any video. It's hard. I had a better time concentrating when I was in Florida than here.
Trying to do my public speaking class assignment, and if you can hear that my monitor has stereo playing in the background, or you could say a little boombox. And she never did this before until she stayed pretty much in here for such a long time due to the pandemic.
Yeah. My mom is supposed to be getting a job, right? But she's supposed to be getting a job a long time ago. She's a nurse. So her job is still good, even during this pandemic, right? But it seems that she's finding an excuse to actually stay in this house and not go to work. My sisters, lost all hope in her schoolwork, right? My mom said that she never did this before. My sister is a person who's able to keep up with every single work, and she gets like 83s in her schoolwork. She's a high school student, but all of a sudden we came to this apartment. My sister loses interest in doing her work. My sister goes to this guidance counselor. My mom tells me that the guidance counselor talks about my sister right in front of her face to another employee in her school. And she's saying that the counselor is the one who's making my sister behave this way. Yes, people can influence you to not do your work. So there's a big problem here. This is the machine. The supercomputer is very so annoying. Damn talking machine. This is to the point that it's telling you that you don't know how to speak your own. Not only uh, complex theories and subject are just ordinary conversation. It tries to make you discouraged so you can form and assimilate yourself as everyone else does. It does it over and over and over. I already know. It did that to me in special ed. All right. Every written test that I did in special, or you could say in class. All right. So when I was in school, elementary school, middle school, and high school, I had to take my tests in the special ed room or in the lunchroom, right? And the AI make people think that I'm incapable of thinking, that I don't know how to do anything for myself, or I don't know how to do math. For instance, during November of 2019, I moved here. I just recently moved here to this apartment. No, it was November 16, 2019. Yes, and during that week, I had to concentrate on my research paper for my college assignment, and I had to do a lot of assignments for my math. I couldn't do all my math assignments in the shelter because I don't have any internet cable. I don't have any internet, no good source of, or I don't have no good resources to sit down and do my math homework because pretty much the only internet that I had at the time was my phone, and I can't spend $60 per month on a phone service, wherein I can actually be using regular internet service that I can be paying for $60, and I get more data than that. I end up flunking the course. My professor during that day I came back said to me, besides even saying anything, he just approached me out of nowhere, my professor, and all of a sudden he starts picking on me on the way I write my parentheses for my equation. And I'm just like, oh man, why does he feel like picking on me? It's like someone programmed my professor to pick on me at this exact time so he can frustrate me, especially during the week I had to move from the shelter to this apartment. And I'm so tired from moving. I'm so exhausted. I didn't get no sleep because I was up all the way to midnight morning without no bed, right? I was moving all day, all back and forth, back and forth. lifting all these heavy stuff back and forth. And all of a sudden, he questions my, or you could say he challenged my mind. He's tried challenging me as if he's trying to mine. I know how people, I don't like usually curse, F my mind up, confuse my mind. Or you can say he's trying to penetrate my inner thoughts. That's how I put it. Not really F my mind, penetrate my inner thoughts. Make me feel as if I'm not capable of doing math at that time. He questions me about if I know my multiplication table. He said he started rushing me. What is 7 times 2? What is 7 times 4? 7 times 4 is not 21. He just keeps going at it. He's trying to rush me down. He was rushing me down. I'm like, what is this? It's like he's running on some sort of adrenaline pill. He's rushing me down. And then he said, no, this isn't, write the parentheses, write the parentheses. No, you're not doing it. Right, write the parentheses. Come on, you need to know. Do you know what number goes into this number? Come on, you need to practice. You need to practice. I'm saying to myself, what? He baited me to say a response when I was tired, when I was exhausted, because I'm so tired from moving. I said that I forgot my math, my multiplication. I forgot. And it's not that I forgot how to do my multiplication. I know my multiplication table. It's that he's rushing me. And not only that, I'm exhausted. This professor never did this before to me. And then the few hours later, he gave me back my math test. You know how much I got? I got a 10 on my math test. Never got a 10. Every math class that I had in school, I passed. I never failed math before. This is my first time failing math because I don't have any place to sit down and use any, computer. He had a website. We had to go on a website called Lumum.com, and I couldn't keep up with the multiplication table. They don't have a good learning system in Lumum because they don't show you videos of how to break down the equation. I haven't done them since 9th grade. Chaos and confusion, how the system keeps people so separated from their authentic self that they can be easily manipulated and used for the system to accomplish whatever the system needs to do. It's easy to understand. I don't know, for me, I'm able to understand it. And when I talk about my experience, I started out talking about my experiences to people and my ideas on an online community, and then that's when I started receiving words telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. The words saying that I don't understand. I just see words in my dreams telling me that you don't understand. You got too much knowledge online. And then the people, remember I had uploaded I showed you how the people speak to me online and how these complete strangers that I never spoken to had just try to make me look like I don't know what I'm talking about, right? Or they were usually, besides doing that, that's how they started out first. Then the more I started writing online, it's where they want me to not be, they want me to acknowledge their idea that there's people out there that's ignoring me. That's what they're saying to me. And at the same time, they're saying that to me is the way I feel, right? Because I realized that the people during the time who's saying this to me, and during my time being in this environment, you could say, in the environment when I was in Florida, and I usually receive, comments back, replies back from people. They start interacting with me, and I learned that people weren't really, they weren't sociable towards me. So that's when I started learning that the people that I'm receiving a social barrier from the people, as if someone is removing me out of that social category. And I'm saying to myself, what? Why is this happening to me? Everybody starts to pretty much do the same exact thing with how the previous person do. They don't respond back, or they just get really angry at the way I speak. Don't forget, there's such thing as fake logic. I don't say a target. I say threat. I pose as a threat to the management program, and it would go to great lengths to just put me in situations that I do not need to be in. Now I have my own mom. My own mom is telling me that I'm almost 40 years old and I'm 27 years old. How can I be almost 40 years old? I'm 27 years old, and then she's telling me that she put in more work than me, and I believe I'm running out of time. She tells me that I'm running out of time for work because I don't have I never had a job before, implying that I don't have a career. Right? She's insulting me as a human being. Someone's hiding her mind away from my situation, right? So if she wouldn't be able to perceive the way what's perceive how people behave around me. She would always tell me that I'm the one who's behaving the way I'm. She said I'd be. Well, how would she phrase it? She phrased it in a weird way, especially during the time of 2016 when I was at the doctor. She said, "Why you always do this to people? Why you always speak like that? It's the computer." No, he just got it off the internet. Or I would have my cousin that I really spoke to. This cousin just came out of nowhere. My mom doesn't even know Nadine lives in Kissimmee, Florida, right? She lives in John Young Parkway. My mom doesn't even know that. Someone knows that Nadine lives in Kissimmee, Florida. But why she's going to this particular Walmart? There's a Walmart next to her in John Young Parkway, right? Why is she going to a Walmart in Kissimmee, Florida, right? The first time when my mom encountered Nadine, she really didn't encounter her. She saw her was during summer 2016, right? She said to me, Andrew, I think I saw my cousin Nadine. I think I saw the cousin Nadine passing, but I didn't say nothing to her. He just walked by. The second time is where she encounters Nadine. And Nadine and my mom start to exchange personal information with one another. And then this is when I learned that Nadine, all of a sudden, during around September, it was around September or October of 2016, ends up coming into the Palm Hotel. Before Nadine even, was it? That was during the next following year. She just came in. She informed me that Nadine is coming in the Palm Hotel. And Nadine just, she was very calm. She speaks very friendly until January of 2017, when I realized that my mom and my sister were becoming really aggressive towards me. And they started talking really weird. They're saying about me. She said to my mom would, and my sister started ganging up on me, right? And how would they gang up on me is that they just start coming in front of my face and start talking really weird. It doesn't have anything to do with the way they actually think about me. It's like they want to have some sort of way to frighten me, right? So my mom and my sister start telling me about my items, like my PlayStation 4 or my computers. She would say to me, she said, what if you start, if you live in the bush and everybody gonna rob your items? I'm like, what? And then they would start getting really angry. If they don't see me talking, they would find another way to get me to talk. They would keep talking, or my mom would insist that I'm talking and she's talking. You're still talking. You're still talking. Why are you still talking? The funny thing here is there was a dream that I had back in 2016 when I ended up seeing my mom friend in my dreams. And she kept saying to me in my dreams, you keep talking, stop talking, stop talking. And I'm saying it match. Because before my mom and my sister gang up on me, right? It was a few days before that happened, it occurred. I had a dream about my mom and my sister arguing with me. They were starting to, curse me out and start to threatening me. A few days later, my mom and my sister did exactly what was shown in my dream. Simulate. It shows me, the AI shows me not only it can simulate, it can design a mind. At that time, within that event, my mom and my sister were out of sync, right? They're not the way, they're characteristic traits, right? That's not them. That's only just from the DNA algorithms. that's been generated through the computational intelligence system, right? A console that has a copy of my mom and my sister DNA algorithms is capable of generating a mind, but it's not. It's come from their DNA, but it's not really actually their minds. That's not how they really think. It knows how to pretty much make changes to their personality and their way they think, their logic and their reasoning. That's when I start realizing that this is the case. Their logic and their reasoning and their mind are fake. That's when I started using the word fake. I go based off my experience. So if people are saying how you got your information about technology or the way I create my ideas. But there is times that I do read about quantum and also cryptography. I learned about cryptography keys and quantum cryptography through Google Books. I was reading over how many books per day? I'd probably say 100 books per day. When I was in a Palm Hotel, I was reading every single day. I would wake up in the morning and I would read and break down the wording without writing in the book. I would just memorize them over and over and over, and I repeat them in my mind over and over and over. Cryptography keys, knowing exactly what numbers are embedded through the cryptography keys, how the AI produces this time and event, how it can make these cards, how can it keeps designing them. I would memorize exactly what it's going to do, and I do them simultaneously. I was keeping up with the AI. I have to say that I was on the same level as a supercomputer. Yes, I was. So I was able to know exactly how the supercomputer is going to bring people in the Palm Hotel. And it happened exactly the way I said it. My mom started saying, "How did you know that?" She questioned me, "How did I know that?" I said, "I trained my mind." That's pretty much it. It only took me 2 weeks to do that. Easy. Therefore, leaving you isolated. Not understood. But yeah, but the thing is, the language that my mom and my sister are using is coming from the supercomputer. Remember, their mind is not their mind. It's just the mind that the AI just created. And they would make sure to use these groupings of words to actually throw you off the way you think. Understood as being a person within society, which believe is a strategy to try to discourage or break your spirit/mind. Do not be discouraged. Yeah, but if you're in a situation where you're no matter how many times you try putting in for jobs, or you could say jobs, trying to get some sort of interaction, can't get partner, can't get anything pretty much. But what's weird is this AI doesn't make me think of suicide, think of committing suicide. Instead, it just insults me. It just criticizes me or lectures me, or it just tells me, "Oh, my face look ugly." Oh, sometimes it creates good dreams. It shows me girls in my dreams. Sometimes it shows me. All right, the wet dreams comes from the supercomputer. It shows me girls that I never met. Sometimes it shows me an African American girl that I never met just make fun of me. "Oh, you're skinny, you're skinny, you're skinny, you're skinny." However I react to the way people think about me when they say these words, it uses that against me. It's cheap. I played enough video games to understand how pretty much a system being able to like that is able to work. That's called cheap. In other words, car on purpose set the intent visually, verbally, and spiritually that when you have ventured out, the interaction that you have with others going to be understood, accepted, and even liked. Try to use reverse psychology on yourself to override reverse psychology. That's still a concept that the software engineers created. It wouldn't work. They already know that concept. The only solution is to create your own concept. You see, I'm able to do it. I'm able to create my own concept. And my mom, there was a time back in 2017 where my mom said to me that I'm trying to manipulate. You know what she would say to me? She would say, "You trying to manipulate me?" You see, he uses words to manipulate me. He thinks he sounds good. She said that to me. She's saying that I'm trying to manipulate my words to make her mine. She would tell me that. I'm like, what? And there was a person online saying that the way he used words, his wording is good, is clear. Damn, I have to do my college assignment. My college assignment is about how technology isolate people and connect people, but the way the way they write it is a bit different. There's an outline. So since since I think since I think I'm capable of talking or memorizing how I write about technology, I might as well go with it. Writing that writing the outline about technology, how technology can isolate people. The problem is the recording. In here, and it's hard to record my face. Correct. Remapping the environment and remapping the people. What stitches and what I mean by people centers is the brain and their emotions and their capability of understanding and processing feeling towards certain individuals like you and I and others that have come across on the internet. I wonder if any so-called target individuals ever end up getting left back twice or having a hard time getting out of school. You know, having some sort of end up being dumped in special ed, where you have special ed teachers writing about you, but it's not intentionally about what you're doing. It's about how you can affect this environment because of the knowledge that poses a threat to the management program. I remember that my back in 10th grade, I was reading my IEP paper, and one of my teachers mentioned about me having fifth grade reading comprehension and writing comprehension. I'm like, what? There's no way I can have fifth grade reading comprehension and fifth grade writing because I end up passing every one of my reading tests. Every state test that I take for ELA, I end up passing with a two. I never end up failing, or in sixth grade I end up failing it. But the class, I end up getting a 90 something in the class because I usually pass my test with a 95. But the test overall, I end up getting a one. One is pretty much, how can you put it? It's below a D minus. It's an F. One is a F. And I don't understand why am I put into this special ed program and speech program. The people are telling me that's the whole thing. This whole entire thing about me started when I was in school. My experience with human beings started with being in the education system. That's where I started saying to myself that people, some sort of people out there, and technology is making people behave this way towards me. I do not understand why this is happening to me. But my IEP itself consists of words that is unintentional. Then the teachers never meant to write that about me, having fifth grade reading comprehension and fifth grade writing comprehension, and telling me that t- rather than telling, it's like they're talking to upcoming people. It's like they're sending this message to people who's going to read my IEP that I do not know how to write or I don't know how to read. It's like they need to find something about me so they can keep using. So I learned that during the time when I read this IEP, it was corresponding with my fifth grade teacher named Mr. Bata. Mr. Bata said that my grammar is poor. He said I have poor grammar. He never said nothing about spelling. I never had people insult me about my spelling. It's always grammar. They get and not only that, they get very angry on the way I use my words. Extremely angry. They get really worked up. Hold on, I'll be back for a few seconds. They get really angry on the way I use words. So when I think about how the people spoke to me, or you say how my special ed teachers talk to me, I think about how when I say words online and the people lecture me on the way I use my words, my wording, and they tell me that the way I use the word is incorrect. And then when I use a specific word, I would have a dream that pretty much would mock me on the way I use my words. Like for instance, I would use the word mentally enslaved, and I would make an example of how people are mentally enslaved. And then later on, I end up getting a dream that mocks me on how I said mentally enslaved. There's another time I talk about porn behavior that shows you the action of people, right? This the concept of porn behavior allows a person to distinguish the behavior that's been shown when people watch pornography and how people can do certain, these strangers, these complete strangers are doing stuff that normally people don't usually do when they have sex. I call it porn behavior. It mocks me how I'm doing it because no one used the word porn behavior. Yes, I've ended up moving even though my house was not up for sale. A strange sequence of events to ended up occurring where I ended up moving about 6 to 9 months after AR interaction. I can explain it. If you use the word unexplained, then you can't explain it. The behavior or the action that happened. But I understand your way of speak or your way of thinking. I already knew before even moving from the Palm Hotel. I already knew that the AI made it obvious that it wanted me out of Florida because I was concentrating. My mom, I said I said in my on my video, usually my mom would have a conversation with me. This shows that these two people are having a discussion about something important. And I can recall when my mom makes a reservation to go somewhere, she would always discuss with me about the place we're going to. But she didn't do that. Instead, she did that when we was on the Amtrak train heading towards New York. She called the hotel, Wyndham, and Fresh Meadows, and she said that she's gonna pretty much book a room there. And my mom never had any discussion with me when I was in the Palm Hotel. She kept mocking me every time I talk about where we're going to in New York City. She said, "You know where we're going to, right?" Just a few days before leaving the Palm Hotel, the multi-agent quantum AI computer showed me Jamaica Avenue. It showed me the security building, the tall security building, implying that the place where I'm going to is Jamaica, Queens. During during November of 2017, I made a video about how the artificial intelligence direct a message to me through a person on Twitch chat. Even though I don't chat on Twitch, I do have an account, but I don't use it to chat with people. And the person mentioned about he knows too much. He's going to get dealt with. The same time is where I recall here. I don't listen to songs. Okay, at that time I wasn't listening to any song, but it was I remember hearing some sort of song about Barbie girls, but I wasn't. There's no song being played, right? All my electronics are off, and I just hear it in my mind. I just heard it in my mind, Barbie girl. A few seconds later, I went on to a person's, or you could say a broadcaster channel, and she was playing Barbie girls. I just clicked on it, just like there was another person that had a song. But it was maybe 6 hours later. It's where I heard the same song that I was thinking of from Lloyd Banks. A lot of things was happening. My whole entire computer was slow. My Acer computer, and I tried removing the files, and nothing would work, and it froze. I even took out the what I did. I even unplugged the adapter, and it still didn't work. I tried even shutting off my computer. It still didn't shut off. I never seen my computer did that before. And I really talked to people during that time of November. November is when paused. My health was in serious condition. All right, I was having headaches too much. I couldn't even do any videos. I stopped with everything. My mom was going nuts. She kept telling me that I need to be electroshocked in my brain. Something's wrong. And this was it after or before? This was after I had this headache, this gruesome headache for weeks, man. My whole entire head was hurting me for weeks. I started taking pictures of myself. So if you look at the video from January of 2019, I showed a picture of my eyes, how it's swollen. I couldn't do anything. I felt like I was paralyzed for the whole entire month of November. November 23rd was also my birthday, and it was also Thanksgiving. I told my mom that I don't feel good. My brain was hurting me, and not only that, my computer was acting up during that time because I recall myself watching Street Fighter V. I was just watching tourneys on Twitch. I pretty much stopped what I did. I couldn't write no more on the internet because my headache was I was getting intense headaches for weeks. Now, if I start writing online about my ideas, I know I'm gonna get headaches for weeks or months, and I can't afford to mess up my college here. It's too much for my health. My laptop adapter back in November 2017 stopped working, as if someone shut down the adapter. No matter how many times I plug it in my computer, it just stopped working. Usually, all my adapters work perfectly fine. I take perfectly care of the adapter. I had to buy a new adapter on Amazon for Black Friday during November 2017. And there was more crazy things that was happening during that time. My mother all of a sudden started having an argument with me on the line that we were standing in Walmart. She just started arguing with me out of nowhere. She kept arguing and she keeps saying to me that I'm trying to that I don't want her to enjoy Thanksgiving. Uh, and then she tells me that I'm a robot. She calls me a robot. And this is the same week I had my headaches and my swollen eye. When I showed my mom my swollen eye, she said the reason why I have a swollen eye is because I'm sick in my head. I told my sister that, and my sister said that doesn't make any sense. So after my headache, it's when my mom said that I need to get. She said I need to go to electroshock therapy because something's wrong with my brain. That's what she said to my. Well, she didn't really say that to me personally. She said that to my mom. But, oh, my mom's what I'm talking about. My sister said that to my mom when when they were in Walmart. My sister said that mom said that you need to get your brain shot, and she said that wouldn't that kill you or damage your brain? That's what my sister said. She said mom is crazy. Mom is talking crazy. So during December, was it when was it was Japan. Japan was having some sort of game. It was some sort of Street Fighter tournament for Japan. So this was January 2018. It was a person on on Twitch that mentioned about electroshock therapy on Twitch, but it was in the chat room, or you could say in the chat, not a chat room, in the chat. They just mentioned about electroshock therapy. Then the same week, I hear about that on the chat. My sister said, "Look, they mentioned about electroshock therapy. Didn't mom mention that you need that?" The same week, it occurred in the same week. All I learned about biorhythm is that it can distort the way a person think, and it also can disrupt a person's health. When I created that concept, I didn't look at the concept on the internet. Unfortunately, I created that the concept just like I created the concept of multi-agent quantum computers. I don't Google. I don't Google my information, unfortunately, and I don't read conspiracy theories. I don't read none of that. I don't do none of that. It's only the information that I created. I told you, I'm the person. Since I was a kid, I've always been capable of creating concepts. I don't receive them from no supercomputer like Nikola Tesla or or Abraham Lincoln. They all receive concepts. Their concept comes from a supercomputer. Mine's come from me. That's weird to the point that the AI lectures me about the way I think. It's like a chatbot. Chatbot. What? What's it like a chatbot? I feel bad for your sister. I think that is highly inappropriate of her guidance counselor, and her loss of interest in her academics is also disappointing. I hope she can recover soon. Oh, I see. You're going back to the recordings of this live stream. You're still all the way back there. Then looking through my recordings, catching up to what I said. I have at least 10 more minutes before I pretty much close this live stream because I have to concentrate on my. I have to concentrate on my college assignment. I have to get it done by tonight. But I learned that since I moved from the environment in Florida, day I knew that I was concentrating too much. I was putting too much effort. I recall waking up from. Oh, it was a time. It was 2017. I was sleeping. And the AI showed me it shows me my own body talking to my mother, and I said a word and I messed up on my word when I was talking. The reason why I messed up on my word is because I feel like the time and events is mocking me, and I messed up on the word, and it happened the way it was shown. I went to Wawa, sat down, talked to my mom, and I said a word, and I stopped, and I said to myself, "Okay, I see what it did there." But anyway, it talks to me because it knows that I'm the only person in this whole entire planet that actually knows what's happening here. Now I can really understand what the reason why he moved me from the Palm Motel to go to a shelter. It is so it was so sad. I was so really depressed that I moved from the Palm Motel because I learned that it doesn't want me to have my own space. It pretty much removed me from the computer or having my own space to sit down and concentrate on writing my ideas online to people. So because I just ended up, all you can hear me is just sighing, and I just look lost. I don't know what to do. And up in Wyndham Hotel in New York City, my mom all of a sudden said, "Oh, we need to go to a shelter." I told my mom in 2018 March when we was in Florida that I'm not gonna go to no motel so you can drain all your money so we can end up in a shelter again. And it happened the way I said it because the money that she used was from tax. The tax money that she can use at that time for the motel can be pretty much expand all the way from March to the next following year than just living in New York, expensive New York, where it's going to take time to find a job because it takes at least for her, it takes at least or a month. It depends for her to get a job in New York City. But she didn't have no money for no license. She didn't even think about that when we was in Kissimmee, Florida. She's an LPN nurse, and an LPN nurse needs needs to keep up with their license. There was several things that was happening. So it's when she got to the shelter is when she purchased the license. She never had no thought about license when she was in Florida. Wow. So she made me and my sister come all the way back to New York so we could stay in an expensive hotel so she could run her money. And I had to pretty much carry my belongings to the path. Path is like a place where a lot of people without any homes or any place to go have to go to some sort of register. They have to register for a shelter to get either approved or disapproved for a shelter. And I sat there once again. I feel as if I'm repeating myself again, coming back to a shelter or going to PATH and having a guy telling me the curfew time and telling me to sign and telling because the first time when I went to the PATH, I had to go there because of domestic abuse because the people that was around me was up in my face. My father girlfriend and my father girlfriend family and my father was pretty much cursing me out and telling me to leave. They want me to be in the streets. And I'm a high school senior at the time. And I was 1 month from graduating high school. It was May 5th, 2012. And they were just angry at me. So I remember there was a time where I had a dream This was when I was 12 years old, and I remember seeing my father in the dream, and I saw these all I see these other African Americans just started talking to me, very angry and aggressively. So I remember waking up in the next following morning, and I told my mom that I saw my father in a dream, and I saw these complete strangers that I never met before that were ganging up on me. Usually, what people do is gang up on me. They come together and they start talking all at once at me, very angrily, until I cannot find any, until I run out of words, or you can say cannot talk anymore, and that they be the only ones talking. So what I call them is primary speakers. They make you admit what they try to make you admit what they think, what you're not thinking of, so you can actually convince yourself that you're thinking the way they had said it, right? And they do it over and over until they repeat this method over and over until you get tired out. No matter what I say or what I do, they keep doing it over and over at me. And then it seems to me this has been going on since I was a kid. It would always shows me a dream first. So I didn't know about premonition until 2014. Precognition, clairvoyant. All I knew was I would have a dream, and the next following day it would happen. But it would always show me people. It would show me the supercomputer would show me how people behave irrational towards me. There was a kid in my class, my gym class. This was in seventh grade. His name is Michael, and he I don't even speak to this person. This is the first time I spoke to him, or you could say the first time he spoke to me, Michael. And all of a sudden, he said something personal towards me, and he started an argument with me as how previous kids would behave towards me when I was in elementary school. That's how I was switched to another class immediately during the last day of school. Mr. Patah class, fifth grade. Mr. Patah switched me to his other, or you can say, he made sure that I go to his friend class. He's friends with another teacher, and I'm stuck in another class where this one kid, his name is Lawrence, has some sort of behavior issue and some sort of idea about who I am, knowing that my class usually related these messages about how I want to beat up Lawrence. But it looked like he don't memorize me. I have no idea what happened that last day of school, but it was crazy. I couldn't explain that day until now. I can explain what happened. I know that a supercomputer is behind it. I know that the people around me in my class, Kevin and Garesh, were programmed, or you can say their mind has been automatically set to behave this way towards me. So they can say that I'm the one who's behaving the way, or you can say I'm the one who's behaving inappropriately. And the teacher couldn't distinguish one another behavior. So they think it's my behavior. The teacher does not, they never learned about human behavior. I think a teacher needs to know about human behavior if they're around the kids, so they can actually distinguish the student's behavior, especially around kids, so they won't get bullied, so they won't get harassed or or suspended. I got suspended too many times. Okay, I've been through that nonsense over and over, and switched to classes too many times. I don't need no people to distract me or make me look like I'm trying to behave bad. It was enough. It's always shows me people in a dream, and then the next day it happened the way it's shown me in a dream. But that was when I was a kid. I didn't even get to discuss about everything on this topic. It gives me a hard time. I'm such a threat that he doesn't want me to have no partner, doesn't want me to have no career, doesn't want me to have any income. The people who are, all right, I recall earlier this year, I was interacting with a person and saying that I don't have any income or no career, that the artificial intelligence and the people so called target individual didn't know how to respond back to me because they never experienced what I've told them. They seem to not have any awareness, show no signs of awareness that this can happen. It shows me that they're what is going on here. Usually targeted individuals, right? They talk about how they can't get a job or they're blacklisted from a job. Blacklisted shows me that they had a job before, but they they had a job before. Shows me they were able to get a career. But me, I put in for a whole bunch of jobs. I tried going to school. I try finding ways to make money. I'm always getting it's difficult. It's like the people prevent me from getting a job. I start learning about why this is happening. I learned about the behavior and I was able to identify it. So I said socially dependent. The people are socially dependent. They're not capable of governing themselves. That if they're capable of governing themselves, they would know one another's behavior and they do not show any signs of knowing one another's behavior. They don't know the intent behind them. So that's when I started showing people on my YouTube channel about socially dependent. I'm using a behavior from the way I'm experiencing people in my environment to show people that the people in my environment are not capable of being socially, they're not able to socially interact. They don't know how to socially interact. They don't know that people created that, you could say, created that product for them. And the people who just walk into a store purchase the product. How is it that they're purchasing a product not knowing that they're depending on another person to give them the product and they don't even know the ingredient? They don't know even how to make the product itself. We don't even know how to make the computer, right? Did they teach you how to make computers in school? We have to rely on China. Well, China's already screwed up anyway, but you have to rely on China in order to be able to know how to receive a computer because they didn't teach you that in school. They don't teach. And YouTube doesn't even teach you how to make a computer. They only teach you how to disassemble a computer and disassemble and assemble a computer or build some sort of rig. They don't teach you how to do, you know, produce computers. Find what exact materials to what wiring how on how to build a computer of your own. They don't teach people how to greet people where when they're at a job. They have to know that automatically. There's a big problem going on here. Not natural, not looking good. So I just start using my ideas based on my experience over and over and over again. So I'll just talk for at least 2 more minutes, and I'll be logging off. It's sad. There's pretty much no one to talk to. They said that human beings it's part of human beings it's part of human nature to socialize. But no matter what I do, I don't get any interaction whatsoever from people on the internet. I don't even have any contacts on my list. Now, oh, even though when I was in Florida, I like being alone because people are a nuisance. But when to the point that I know that I'm surrounded by people, I'm seeing that other people are capable of having a career and having a partner. No matter how many times I try to get a career or a partner is unsuccessful, then there's something wrong here. Definitely something incorrect. It really bothers me as a human being, and I have to single them out, single each and every single action out in the environment around me, so I can inform people that this is not natural. So this is it for this video. You can leave comments back if you want, even though no one leaves comments back. All right.